Myself, I'm R.BHUSHAN. Welcome to ASG IAS Current Affairs Program, that is C.A.P. ASG IAS believe in quality, commitment and success. Join for the success. This photograph I have taken from the Hindu newspaper. South African team is a joyous lot after regaining the Webb Ellis Cup. My heartiest congratulations to South African team to win this cup. South Africa stunned pre-match favorite England 32-12 with a brutally effective forward display to win its third World Cup here on Saturday. The Springboks' victory was built on a colossal performance by the powerhouse pack that allowed fly-half Handra Pollard to kick 6 penalties before McJoel Mapimpi's 66th minute try, the first the Springboks had scored in a World Cup final. Fit again, fellow flyer Cheslin Klobb then crossed from the other wing to put the result beyond doubt and set up celebration for the South African public. My heartiest congratulations, I R.BHUSHAN. Heartedly congratulations the African team. Thank you. So the most important fact of today's are that most of things are related to science and technology. Be careful, be attentive. Stimulating white blood cells helps to clear TB bacteria. Potency of TB drugs improved many times when 2 receptors of the immune cells are activated. Instead of using drugs to directly kill TB bacteria, researchers at the Indian Institute of Technology IIT Ropar have directly stimulated the immune system to kill the bacteria. This was achieved by using small molecules ligands to stimulate 2 specific receptors, that is C4E and TLR4 found on the surface of the white blood cells macrophages to kill the bacteria. The 2 receptors are copiously expressed on the surface of the macrophages, and activating them help regulate the cell function. Once activated, the ability of the macrophages to reduce TB load and eliminate the bacteria gets enhanced through increased autophagy. Autophagy is the body's way of cleaning out damaged cells in order to regenerate newer, healthier cells. Once again, I will repeat. Autophagy is the body's way of cleaning out damaged cells in order to regenerate newer, healthier cells. The next important fact is how cotton leaf worm respond to the defense mechanism of plants. Plant volatiles that attract predatory wasps could be boosting the worm's immunity levels. A new side to the triangular story of interactions among the plant, pest and predatory insects emerges as a result of the study carried out by researchers from the National Center for Biological Sciences, Bengaluru. The team finds a link between the boosting of immunity levels in the pest cotton leaf worm, Spodopetra litura, and exposure to the plant volatiles, which are aromatic vapors released by the plant when the worm chews the leaves. This is the first study showing the impact of the plant volatiles on the cellular immunity of the worm S. litura, causing elevated defense against natural enemies, says Radhika Venkateswaran, in whose lab the works was carried out. So plant pest predator. Number 1 point, the cotton leaf worm is a pest that eats cotton plant leaves. 2. Damaged leaves emit volatiles that attract the wasp. 3rd, wasp sting and lay eggs on the worm, which harms them. 5th, plant volatiles also immunize the worms against wasp stings. 6. Worms also gain immunity against pathogen Bacillus thuringiensis. So the next important news is Dr. Shivam left wing given the Distinguished Alumni Award to Flipkart. Flipkart co-founder Bini Bansal on Saturday. Bini Bansalan will try to safe landing on moon against Shivam. No date finalized but mission certain. The Indian Space Research Organization ISRO is planning another mission to safely land a vehicle on the moon, is its chief K. Shivam said on Saturday. In the Chandrayaan-2 mission, a lander called Vikram crash landed on September 6 after a 46-day journey. Vikram contained a robotic vehicle, Pragyan, that was to traverse 500 m of the lunar surface and relay details of the soil back to the ISRO. Mr. Shivam, who was the chief guest at the 50th convocation ceremony at IIT Delhi, said Chandrayaan-2 mission could not achieve soft landing, but all other mission parameters until 300 meters were successful. We were planning a follow-up mission to demonstrate soft landing. In response to the question from the Hindu, he said that while no date for the endeavor had been finalized, the mission was a certainty. We definitely have a demonstrate the technology and we were working out a plan against it. Plan of action. Germany to invest $1 billion for the green urban mobility. Merkel stressed need to replace diesel buses with e-vehicles. German Chancellor Angela Merkel on Saturday pledged to invest $1 billion over the next 5 years on environment-friendly urban mobility in India. Ms. Merkel, whose visit to the country coincided with one of the worst spell of the air pollution in Delhi and the National Capital Region, emphasized the need to replace diesel-run public transport with electric vehicles. We have agreed to cooperate on a climate protections and green urban mobility and have earmarked €1 billion towards this. Ms. Merkel said at an event here, Germany would also put €200 million to reform the bus sector in Tamil Nadu, she added. Touching upon the subject of the air pollution in Delhi, she said that looking at the severity of the situation, it would be a good idea to replace diesel buses with the electric ones. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has gifted German Chancellor Angela Merkel on the exquisite handloom woolen khadi stole for Ladakh and from Ladakh and the Ratnam pen. The sole, known as Call of Ladakh, has an intricate traditional Ladakhi border pattern and 4 corner motifs. The yarn is hand spun using the finest sheep wool on a traditional charkha by native Ladakhi women in the harsh winter months. The Ratnam pen, named after K.V. Ratnam, originally from the family of the goldsmiths in Raja Murdi, was made iconic of Mahatma Gandhi. It is produced even today in its original form by K.V. Ratnam and Sons Ratnam Ballpen Works, owned by Ratnam's descendants. Even today it has a barrel for filling ink using a dropper and the genius iridium nib from Germany. Prime Minister highlights J&K move in Bangkok. A diaspora event, he says his government is working to fulfill those aims that once seemed impossible. India has eliminated a big reason behind the sowing of the seeds of the terrorism and the separatism. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said here on Saturday in a clear reference to the withdrawal of the special status of J&K, Jammu and Kashmir, and recognizing their state. Addressing the Indian diaspora here, Mr. Modi said his government was working to fulfill those aims that seemed impossible. You are aware that India has decided to eliminate a big region behind sowing of the seeds of terrorism and separatism. Mr. Modi said, when the decision is right, its echo is heard across the globe. And I can hear it in Thailand as well, he said at the Swasidi Mr. Modi event. Mr. Modi also received a standing ovations after he referred to the withdrawal of the special status. He said the ovation was India's parliament and parliamentarians' expectations of the people were more than those who work and deliver. He said to the huge applause from the audience. Mr. Modi talked about the Kartarpur corridor opening and said pilgrims would now be able to visit Kartarpur Sahib in Pakistan freely. He also highlighted his government's programs such as Ujjwala Yojana, Ujjwala Yojana, Ujjwala Yojana. Due to the changes in India in the last 5 years, people gave a bigger mandate to his government this time, Mr. Modi said. The Prime Minister also said India was committed and working hard to become $5 trillion economy, $5 trillion economy, $5 trillion economy. I can show you this photograph to Mr. Modi, Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister of India, great hard-working person, the most hard-working person, absolute dedication to the nation, to the people, to the democracy. So the last one important fact is sequencing Indian genes. How will CSIR, Indian Gen Project, lead to the precision medicine and develop its commercial gene testing services? The story is so far. Whatever the fact I'm telling you, that has been taken from the Hindu newspaper. The Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, recently announced the conclusion of 6-month exercise from April 2019 of the conducting a whole gene sequence of 1,008 Indians. The project is a part of the program called Indigen, and it is also seen as a precursor to much larger exercise involving other government departments to map a larger swath of the pollution in the country. Project proponents said this will widen public understanding in India about genomes and the information that genes hide about one of the susceptibility to the disease. What is whole genome sequencing? What is whole genome sequencing? A genome is the DNA or a sequence of gene in a cell. Most of the DNA in the nucleus and the intricately coiled into a structure called the chromosome. The rest is in the mitochondria, the cell's powerhouse. Every human cell contains a pair of the chromosome, each of which has 3 billion base pairs, or one of the 4 molecules that pair in the precious ways. The order of the base pairs and varying length of these sequences constitute the genes, which are responsible for the making amino acid, proteins, and thereby everything that is necessary for the body to function. It is when the genes are altered or mutated that proteins sometimes do not function as intended, leading to disease. Sequencing a gene means deciphering the exact order of the base pairs in individual. This deciphering or reading of the genome is what sequencing is all about. Cost of sequencing differ based on the methods employed to do the reading or the accuracy stressed upon the decoding the gene. Since an initial rough draft of the human genome was made available 2000, the cost of the generating a fairly accurate draft of any individual genome has fallen to a tenth, or to a ballpark figure of around 70,000 rupees approximately. It has been known that the portion of the genes responsible for making proteins called exome occupies about 1% of the actual gene rather than the sequence the whole gene. Many genetics rely on exome maps, that is the order of the exome necessary to make proteins. However, it has been established that the non-exome proteins also affect the functioning of the genes, and that ideally, to know which genes of a person DNA are muted, the gene has to be mapped in its entirely. So thank you very much to watch my program. Wish you all the best. Good luck.